Broadway's Lost Treasures, the greatest stars from the greatest musicals of all time. Guys and Dolls, Annie, Cabaret, Cats, My One and Only, A Little Night Music, Evita, Pajama Game, Chicago, The King and I, 42nd Street, The Music Man, Hello Dolly, Fiddler on the Roof, Sweeney Todd, and more. This is your front row center seat to the legends of the American musical theater. These are Broadway's Lost Treasures.
Hello, I'm Angela Lansbury, and welcome to Broadway's Lost Treasures. The musical theater's ability to transport us to another time and place is one of the great and reliable feats of magic we can count on. When the house lights go down, the curtain rises, and you sit in a huge, dark space with your fellow audience members and allow another reality to unfold on the stage. The genius of the Gershwins, the joy of Rodgers and Hammerstein, and the drama of Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber are best experienced live in the most sophisticated form of the medium, the Broadway stage. Broadway is not just the Midtown Theater District. It's very much a state of mind. The Great White Way. It's bright lights and big city, lit with neon, noisy with traffic, and open to the public 24/7. And no activity personifies Broadway more than the musical. Tonight, we're going to show you on video in just one program 17 performances from the works of the greatest composers, actors, and actresses divided into 4 acts. Broadway divas, leading men, dancing, and the record breakers. Now, what is it that makes this particular archive so rare? Well, the performances you're about to see have only been shown once before in their original telecasts and never repeated. Enjoy Broadway's Lost Treasures.
Hi, I'm Jerry Orbach. Guys and Dolls is a fable about the people who inhabit a bygone Broadway. Con men and schemers, evangelists and showgirls, characters with names like Nicely Nicely Johnson and Sky Masterson. I had the opportunity to play Sky in the City Center revival in 1965, I think, with Alan King as Nathan Detroit and Jake LaMotta as Big Julie. Here, the original Vivian Blaine as Miss Adelaide, the perpetually yearning for marriage girlfriend of gambler Nathan Detroit. Unfortunately for Adelaide, Nathan's grand passion is running a floating crap game. In this famously plaintive number with comically clever lyrics, her failure to make an honest man of Nathan is starting to literally make her sick.
It says here, the average unmarried female, basically insecure, due to some long frustration, may react with psychosomatic symptoms, difficult to endure, affecting the upper respiratory tract. In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person develop a cold. You can spray her wherever you figure the streptococcus lurk. You can give her a shot for whatever she's got, but it just won't work. If she's tired of getting that fish eye from the hotel clerk, a person can develop a cold. In other words, just from wondering whether the wedding is on a roof, a person can develop a cold. You can feed her all day with the vitamin A and the bromo fizz, but the medicine never gets anywhere near where the trouble is. If she's getting a kind of a name for herself and the name ain't his, a person can develop a cold. And furthermore, just from stalling the wedding trip, a person can develop la grip. When they get on the train for Niagara and she can hear church bells chime, the compartment is air conditioned and the mood sublime. Then they get get off at Saratoga for the 14th time. A person can develop like post-nasal drip with the wheezes and the sneezes and the sinus that's really a pip. From a lack of community property, a feeling she's getting too old, a person can develop a bad
In Guys and Dolls, Frank Lesser, in my opinion, wrote the most unusual lyric to a song that I've ever heard. And if I may, I'll quote, "The average unmarried female, basically insecure, due to some long frustration may react with psychosomatic symptoms difficult to endure affecting the upper respiratory tract. In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person can develop a cold." There you have it.
Composer Andrew Lloyd Webber and lyricist Tim Rice partnered to create Evita. The play is told entirely in song and the story of Eva Perón, who rises from an impoverished background as an actress and model to marry General Juan Perón, who later becomes the president of Argentina. She is a master, street-smart manipulator of both the media and her husband, and transforms herself into the most powerful woman in the country. Equal to this starring role of one of history's most enigmatic women, Evita stars the fantastic vocal flair of Patti LuPone.
Dice are rolling, the knives are out. Would-be presidents are all around. I don't say they mean harm, but they'd each give an arm to see us 6 feet underground.
It doesn't matter what those morons say. Our nation's leaders are a feeble crew. There's only 20 of them anyway. What is 20 next to millions who are looking to you? All you have to do is sit and wait, keeping out of everybody's way. You'll be handed power on a plate when the ones who matter have their say, and with chaos installed, you can reluctantly agree to be called.
There again, we could be foolish not to quit while we're ahead. For distance lends enchantment, and that is why all exiles are distinguished. More important, they're not dead. I could find job satisfaction in Paraguay.
This is crazy defeatist talk. Why commit political suicide? There's no risk, there's no call for any action at all when you have unions on your side.
Perón, 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 Perón. Hello, Argentina, the chains of the masses untie. tried elections for our cause, the inconvenience having to get a majority. If normal methods of persuasion fail to win us applause, there are other ways of establishing authority.
We have ways of making you vote for us, or at least of making you abstain.
Bill has resigned from the army in this way of all. The death canny sagas of those he is marching with know. He's about you, he knows you, understands you, and what I do. And no more would he love me.
Argentina, the things of the masses of mine. Argentina, the voice of the people.
Stephen Sondheim's beautiful and bloody Sweeney Todd tells the story of a London barber, originally played by my friend Len Cariou, who returns maddened from an unjust prison sentence to take his revenge by slitting the throats of his clients and having their bodies made by his equally crazed associate into pies. Angela Lansbury, unquestionably one of the theater's greatest all-around talents, plays Mrs. Lovett in a kind of 19th century maniacal version of rap as she bakes and sings at a frenzied pace about what are absolutely the worst pies in London.
What you rush, what you hurry? You gave me such a fright. I thought you was a ghost. Half a minute, can't you sit? Sit you down, sit. All I meant is that I haven't seen a customer for weeks. Did you come in for a pie, sir? Do forgive me if my head's a little vague. Ugh, what is that? But you think we have the plague? From the way that people keep avoiding, no you don't. Heaven knows I try, sir. But there's no one comes in even to inhale. Right you are, sir, would you like a drop of ale? Mind you, I can't hardly blame them. These are probably the worst pies in London. I know nobody cares to take them. I should know, I make them. But good no, the worst pies in London. Even that's polite, the worst pies in London. If you doubt it, take a bite. Is that just disgusting? You have to concede it. It's nothing but crusting. You drink this, you'll need it. The worst pies in London. And no wonder with the price of meat what it is. When you get it, never thought I'd live to see the day. Men, I think it was a treat finding poor animals what are dying in the street. Mrs. Mooney has a pie shop. Does a business, but I've noticed something weird. Likely all our neighbours' cats have disappeared. Have to hand it to her, what I calls enterprise. Popping pussies into pies wouldn't do in my shop. Just the thought of it's enough to make you sick. And I'm telling you, the pussycats is quick. No denying times is hard, sir. Even harder than the worst pies in London. Only lad and nothing more is that just revolting, all greasy and gritty. It looks like it's molting and tastes like, well, pity a woman alone with a limited wind and the worst pies in London. Ah, sir, times is hard, times is hard.
But I have to say that the great moment for me was when I found myself cast as Nellie Lovett in the Sweeney Todd. The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That was such a total opposite to anything I'd ever done before. And actually, I was going back to my roots again. I was going to play a little Cockney woman, an amoral, slutty little soul from the East End of London, and in the most gosh-awful looking outfits you've ever seen in your life, but getting to sing the most glorious score. So it embodied so many qualities of the theatre, and it was very theatrical. And people were quite shocked when they first saw it. So for me, it was a kind of a breakthrough role. And I'll probably never repeat it again. But as I said, it does occupy a very, very special part in my memory of Broadway.
Thornton Wilder's book, The Matchmaker, was adapted for the stage by the late Michael Stewart, who wrote the book for my first Broadway musical, Carnival, and the last one I did, 42nd Street. The lyrics and music are by Jerry Herman. They made it into the Tony-winning Best Musical of 1964, Hello, Dolly. Here, Carol Channing plays the widow Dolly Gallagher Levi, a street-smart matchmaker who, in imagining a conversation with her dead husband, decides to use her talents for herself before the parade passes by.
Ephraim, let me go. It's been long enough, Ephraim. Every evening for all these years, I've locked the door, I've put out the cat, I've made myself a little rum toddy. And before I went to bed, I said a prayer, thanking God that I was independent, that no one else's life was mixed up with mine. And then one night, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. I placed it there when you asked me to marry you, Ephraim. A perfectly good oak leaf, but without color and without life. And I suddenly realized that I was like that leaf. For years, I had not shed one tear, nor had I been filled with the wonderful hope that something or other would turn out well. And so I have decided to rejoin the human race. I'm gonna marry Harris Vandergelder. And Ephraim, I want you to give me away. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and taste Saturday's high life. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my life. I'm ready to move out in front. I've had enough of just passing by life. With the rest of them, with the best of them, I can hold my head up high. For I've got a goal again, I've got to drive again. I'm gonna feel my heart coming alive again before the parade. Ahead. Listen and hear that brass harmony growing. Look at that crowd up ahead. Pardon me if my old spirit is showing. All of those lights over there seem to be telling me where I'm going. When the whistles blow and the cymbals crash and the sparklers light the sky, I'm gonna raise the roof. I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton before the parade passes by.
Based on Ingmar Bergman's film, Smiles of a Summer Night, A Little Night Music is one of the few plays that can run successfully on the Broadway stage, as well as at the New York City Opera. It's a cynical yet comedic look at people acting, for the most part, very foolishly when faced with the ambiguities of love, particularly the choices between marriage and infidelity. Julie Andrews, looking every inch the elegant leading lady, sings Sondheim's most widely popular song of rueful romantic understanding.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Where are the clowns? Send in the clowns. Just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines, no one is there. Don't you love a farce? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. So where are the clowns? Quick, send in the clowns. Well, maybe next
Hello, I'm Joel Grey. Fiddler on the Roof takes the audience to a faraway, hard world of a poor Jewish village in 19th century Tsarist Russia, where life for the family of Tevye the milkman, played by the amazing Zero Mostel, was a daily balancing act between tradition and survival, between suffering and happiness. If I Were a Rich Man has become one of the gold standards for solo performances, the New York Times calling Mr. Mostel's performance one of the most glowing creations in the history of the musical theater.
Dear God, you know you made many, many poor people. I know it's no great shame to be poor, but it's no great honor either. What would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune? If I were a rich man, all day long I'd pity, pity, bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a pitty, pitty rich, yiddle, diddle, 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 man, I'd build a big, tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There could be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down, and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each loud will land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, all day long I'd bitty bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a bitty rich, yaddle-diddle-diddle-diddle man, I'd see my wife, my Goldie, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to our heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Boy, what a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. The most important men in town